that was?
Yes.
Then that means you're missing nothing if you know that.
No.
Because even if you're missing something, it will tell you what you're missing, and then that means you're not missing anything.
Okay.
Because you will have it when you need it. Even if you don't have it now, maybe you don't need it now. But when you become the person more and more that you prefer to be, you will have everything you need, everything that's relevant for you, exactly, precisely, perfectly, when you need it. What more do you need than getting something exactly when you need it? Why would you need it before you need it? Why would you get it after you need it? If you understand how the mechanism works, you will know that you will get everything you need exactly when you need it. And therefore, in a sense, even though you may not have it now, you will have it when you need it, which means you have everything you need.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Was that music to your ears?
Yes, and maybe I need some more information regarding something slightly related.
Like what?
Wondering if you've said that if you imagine something, it's real
Somewhere, somehow.
Okay.
In its own context, in its own terms. That doesn't mean it's real in your physical reality experience.
So I've imagined either it could be a parallel Earth
Yes.
or some other planet where
Yes.
music is essentially like the central ideas that the society is based around.
Well, there's actually several civilizations we're aware of that function in that way. Yes.
And I was wondering if you could give us some stories or explain something.
Certainly. There is a civilization we're aware of where, well, I'm going to describe the beings. It's going to probably sound a little bit odd to you, but don't take it quite too literally because we're just creating an analogy that you can understand. Yes? Mm-hmm. All right. So imagine, if you will, a kind of a drum. Yes?
Yes.
Now imagine that the drum has 8 legs and it can move around. And when it needs to communicate, it goes thump, 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 thumpity thump, 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 thump. But these thumps resonate with an amazing amount of resonance, harmonics, different chords. You understand? Mm-hmm. And all of the beings communicate this way, and the idea of resonance is a fundamental part of who and what they are. Everything is expressed that way in this amazing symphony of these kinds of instruments they have within their body biologically that allow for the creation of all sorts of amazing complex patterns and harmonics to happen in percussive ways. It's an amazing civilization to visit. And it's amazing just to stand on their world and be immersed in the vibrations of all that resonance. It does things to you.
So music is just everything, everywhere there. That's
all
how
they
communicate,
understand
that's
are
all they know.
variations of resonance, variations of tone. Both what you would call on larger scales and on more subtle scales. And like us, in a sense, what might seem a simple note to you, to us actually sounds like multiple harmonics. To them, it's 10 times that, 20 times that. They can hear things in the simplest note that you would only think is a single note, that to them might be an entire symphony. It's really quite immersive. The thing is that when you stand among them, they actually have the ability to impart a little bit of that to you because they are somewhat telepathic. Therefore, their vibrations go, in a sense, right through you and entrain you a little bit to go along with those vibrations. And after a while, you actually begin to understand their language. But understanding their language is not just language in the way that you use it. It's music in the same way that listening to a symphony might transport you in your imagination to various realities and various experiences. It's more like that rather than some of the simple concepts that words might attempt to convey. It's much more of a holistic, full-bodied experience to listen to their language, to be immersed in their language. They're actually, in a sense, telling stories as they talk. It's just built into what they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you visit that place as Bashar, or did you have other incarnations? Or?
Yes, I visited it as myself.
Uh-huh.
I do have, or have had, in your terms, an incarnation there because the idea is they were one of my first contact experiences. And in all of our first contact experiences, we always choose out of an incarnational experience in the society, so we will have something to draw upon so that we understand the society more deeply. Otherwise, we'd be too alien to each other. So having an incarnational experience in their society gave me some understanding of the basics of their society, but I've also been there as myself, yes.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. One more question.
Yes.
Do you have the ability to scan me?
I'm always scanning.
Okay. Can you tell me how many negative beliefs I have?
Talk about opening yourself up. 5,487 and a half. Now, do you believe me?
That's less than I thought I had, so thank you.
Then I guess you must be doing pretty
I
good.
guess I'm doing pretty good, yeah.
Do you believe me?
No.
Thank you. Then that's one less negative belief.
All right. Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you.
What's up, my friend?
Andrew, you good day.
I have been experiencing a large amount of kriyas, involuntary body movements.
Yes.
From my understanding, Kundalini Sati.
Yes. Well, as you expand your consciousness, you raise your frequency, you make yourself a better antenna for higher frequency energies, in a sense, to pass through. You become a conduit for that. But it's even more important, the more sensitive you become to higher frequency energies and become a better conduit for those higher energies, the more important it is to actually express those energies in physical terms through different actions that are representative of your passion, so that it gets grounded into your physical reality, so that it just passes through you and doesn't necessarily stay within you and cause all sorts of bodily movements that you don't necessarily need.
Okay, thank you. Where would you suggest putting these guys? Anything to do? Anything to do other than follow my excitement with this shit that's flowing through me?
So you're asking me if there's anything outside the instruction manual we've already given you and told you there was nothing outside the instruction manual.
Okay, cool.
Does that help?
Yeah.
All right.
Part of it is, as I understand, Kundalini Sati, dissolving my ego, returning to oneness.
Well, no, you can't return to oneness and have any experience. And it's not dissolving the ego, it's allowing the ego to become transparent enough to simply do the job it was designed to do and not take on any other tasks that it's not designed to handle. The ego is simply designed to focus you to have an experience of physical reality. It's part of the idea of the manifestation space we described at the beginning of this transmission. It's the part that tells you, this is real, this is real, this is real, this is real. Have an experience, have an experience, have an experience, have an experience. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. That's all the ego is for. But when the ego is taught to believe that it has to control everything, handle everything, then it becomes the negative ego. Then it tries to take control. Then it tries to tell you what it thinks you need to do. That's not what the ego is designed to do. So it's not about dissolving the ego. It's about making it transparent and just letting it do the job it was designed to do, so you can have a physical experience in a clear and balanced way. That's all.
At times when these negative beliefs are, when my ego becomes more transparent, these things are leaving now, and it's very painful. On the floor in the fetal position, crying. Is there a way to process this pain?
Well, yes.
More efficiently?
Well, yes. Again, you can understand that pain is resistance to the natural self. So the more you don't resist the natural self, the faster it will go through you, the faster you will experience it that way, and the sooner you will not need to experience it that way.
Okay, thank you.
But again, do the things that you need to do. Take the actions in physical reality you need to take that are reflective of your passion, so that you are funneling the energy through you in a more accelerated way.
So having a flexible plan
Yes.
My prior highest excitement before it was brought to my attention, this energy was in me, was pursuing shamanism. I'm slated to go back to Peru in September.
All right.
I've heard it is dangerous to mix ayahuasca or other plant medicines with this active energy in my system.
It depends. Depends on your belief system. But again, you can also trust that if you are in that balanced state with yourself, and if you're acting on your passion, the organizing principle of synchronicity will show you by creating opportunities or not creating opportunities what it is you actually need and don't need to do at that moment. So in that sense, it will guide you and it will make sure that you're not necessarily doing, if you pay attention to that intuition, it will make sure you're not doing what wouldn't necessarily be to your benefit at that moment. Yes?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
That was a question?
All right, can I ask one? Get to ask a question. Could you tell me about soul agreements? I was thinking before you talked about past lives not simultaneously or in a linear framework that I really fucked her over in a past life, and which is why she causes me so much pain now.
No. The idea is you're making connections from the present that are the connections you believe were necessary to make in order to draw upon information and experience that help you with the theme that you chose to explore in this life. So it's not from another life. You're making those connections to explore the theme you chose for this life. If you don't believe you necessarily need to make those connections anymore, you can change the connections. Please, all of you remember, the idea of the so-called past lives, not only is it really just an illusion that it happens that way, but it's also not a static thing. Many people, when they talk about the idea of, oh, well, do I have this past life or that past life, they think that never changes. It's a dynamically changing thing as you change. So one moment you may have a connection to one other simultaneous incarnation, and 5 minutes later you may be such a different person that you don't need that connection anymore, and you're making connections to other people and other simultaneous incarnations. It's a dynamically changing thing.
Cool, thank you. Last question about rectifying, like you say, life is inherently meaningless.
Not in the negative way. We simply mean it's a blank slate. You give it meaning, and that's what determines the effect you get. You are offered the free will to make those choices and have the experiences you prefer.
It feels that higher forces are guiding me towards my life's purpose being spiritual evolution. So I was just wondering what trumps what.
There is a general current, if you want to call it that, a magnetic pull toward the positive side, because you could sort of say, just as an illustration, that existence is 51% positive and 49% negative, because the balance point in the center, the neutral point, still offers you the opportunity to choose what you prefer, whereas negativity attempts, in a sense, to disguise that option. So, in a sense, if you even just dropped into the flow, relaxed into the general current of existence, you would eventually gravitate, feel the pull toward the positive side.
Okay, thank you.
Yes?
When I dissolve into oneness, can we hang out?
You do not dissolve into oneness, ever. You are always a perspective, you're always a point of view. You exist, you always exist. And the idea that you're calling dissolving into oneness is simply suddenly experiencing yourself as all that is. You don't lose your perspective is all that's left. You become everything. You don't lose yourself in everything, you are everything. That's the difference, because you can never lose your perspective, because you can never not exist in some form.
Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. It tickles me when you say that.
Tickles us too.
My question relates to one of my passions, which is to help end the war between the sexes. And
There's a war? Why are you calling it a war if you want to help?
Okay,
You
so
get my meaning?
I think I do. So I'll just drop it.
You can recognize that there are differences, and many of which may be based on negative and fear-based beliefs, and certainly you can help with that. But calling it a war, doesn't that take it in the negative direction? Doesn't that
I see how
reinforce
it
the
does.
negativity?
Yes, I see how it does.
All right. So by all means, you can educate, you can raise consciousness, you can allow perspective to shift by creating new definitions, new ways to understand relationships. Yes?
That sounds fun and creative.
Well, yes, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can anything, in any way, shape, or form, choose to change if you don't give it the option to change instead of reinforcing the negative idea? Yes?
Got it. I got it.
Does that help?
It's beginning to help. Yes. Thank you.
Anything else?
And yes, so the fact is, there is a rape culture on this planet.
There is a what?
Oh, nothing. Excuse me. We're all having a great time as men and women.
Now, first and foremost, when you talk about the idea of between the sexes, men and women, you do know you have more genders than that, yes?
That's true. There's a continuum, isn't it? Isn't
Kind
there?
of, yes.
Okay.
Therefore, you have a lot more to work with here. A lot more flexibility, a lot more malleability in how you describe these things, how you discuss these things, how you offer different perspective of these things, yes?
Got it. So it's limiting to think of us as
Kind of.
being born into just male or female bodies.
Well, yes. There may be purposes for that, but the purposes may not be what you think.
So why does it
Does this
seem,
give you a richer tapestry to work with?
it's definitely giving me a richer
Why does what
tapestry.
seem what?
So why does it still seem like there's a culture of domination?
Because
of
it's
men
fear-based,
against
as I
women?
just told you. Remember, people who are not fear-based don't need to express domination.
Okay.
Remember that when you express the idea of attempting to dominate, that means you don't believe you actually have any power. Because if you really know you have power, what would be the point of dominating? You're already as powerful as you need to be to create whatever reality you prefer. If you have to dominate, you're saying you're powerless. I don't have any other way of creating what I prefer other than trying to control my reality and other people's reality and force them into this idea that makes me feel safe. You understand?
Yes.
Because if they haven't been given the tools to get in touch with their own self-empowerment, they're going to feel powerless, and that scares them. And therefore, they're in denial of that because it scares them to even look at it. And therefore, they have to project outwardly onto others the idea of their fear. Because please remember, again, paradoxically, people who are in denial of the fact that they have fear-based beliefs are also in denial that they're in denial. Yes?
Yeah.
That's the negative reinforcement from the negative belief, is you have to be in denial that you're in denial so that you won't look at those things. And therefore, the only avenue of escape you have is to project it outward onto others and attempt to gain what you think is control outwardly instead of understanding you already have control inwardly. So, eliminating fear-based beliefs, getting people in touch with the fact that they're already as powerful as they need to be to manifest whatever they truly need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in that process, then you'll have a different world. Then you'll have a balanced world. Yes? It's all about the idea of fear-based beliefs, belief in things like lack, You understand? And beliefs in all sorts of other things that are out of alignment with your true frequency, your true nature.
So I imagine that I, like everybody else in this room here right now, wants to make a positive impact on our world and help
You
us.
want to reveal the positive impact you're already having.
Oh, wow.
You
Help
already have
us
impact
reveal.
as much as you ever will have, but the actions you take reveal the impact that's already there. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Touches me deeply to hear.
Yes. Just be yourself, and it will reveal all the impact you're already having. You see, none of you are really aware, nor do you always need to be aware of the impact that you already have on others just by your existence. It's profound. All you need to do is take the actions that are in alignment with your passion to begin to reveal the impact you're already having. Does that help you?
It does. And what it also brings up is a question. I work in the field of sacred sexuality.
Yes.
And I work with men and women who have been raped and have had sexual violence done to them.
All right, well, how exciting for you to give them an opportunity to find a path through that experience that will benefit them and empower them.
I see. So it's not about denying their perception that there's rape out there.
No. Understand, the idea is it's not about in any way, shape, or form excusing perpetrators. It's about taking responsibility for the fact that you may have had beliefs about yourself that then were reflected by someone else to you about issues of lack of self-worth.
Wow, that's a hard pill to swallow for somebody.
That's a belief.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Now, I understand that that's not normally the way people on your planet think of these things, but it requires the idea of an accelerated consciousness to realize it's not about blame, it's not about fault, it's not about excusing a perpetrator, because it's the perpetrator's duty to get in touch with their own self-empowerment and not be attracted by someone who may be playing a victim role.
Got it.
Because remember, both the perpetrator and what you call the victim are victims, because it takes a victim to make a victim. So a chain has been created where abuse creates abusive people. Yes?
Yes.
So it's about breaking the chain and having the compassion to understand, again, not excusing a perpetrator, but seeing deep within to understand that they are in a great deal of pain. That's why they're lashing out at other people, why they're attempting to dominate and control. And it is having the compassion not only for yourself, to remove yourself from victimhood and victimization by claiming your own responsibility for your own reality, at least to the point where you may recognize there are positive ways to realize how to transform that experience for yourself, and maybe even transform it in a way that you can reach out to those that perpetrated it and help them transform too, thus breaking the chain.
Thank you.
So in a sense, those that may appear to be victims at first can actually be the most powerful agents of change for those who function as perpetrators. You follow?
Yes. I'm really locked in this perception that gender is dual, that there's men and women, and I hear you saying there's more than those two genders.
Well, there is, and we understand that that seems to be the dominant way it's expressed on your planet, and that's fine in general as an overall illustration.
Okay.
But it doesn't take in the finer points of the spectrum that exists. And of course, you have to understand there are, on other planets, many other expressions of the idea of gender that are completely unlike what you experience. Therefore, you have to know that your spirit contains the probability of all of those expressions, even though it may only seem to be expressing it in a few limited ways.
Fantastic. So I'm imagining if I'm working with a couple, say, well, any couple, that
Yes.
it's not so much a matter of them inhabiting male or female bodies. It's more like they're these two puzzle pieces.
In a sense, but I
And-
would start first by exploring with them as deeply as you can what they actually believe to be true about themselves in terms of general gender energy.
Oh,
Because even though someone may look female and look male to your eyes, they may actually be expressing within themselves a multitude of different ways of expressing gender energy if they're willing to be honest about the different ways in which they experience themselves when that subject comes up for them.
wow, that could get pretty complicated because
It can get complex. It doesn't have
complex.
to be complicated.
Because there seems to be a lot of confusions about what is masculine and what is feminine.
Exactly, but the idea of the confusion can lead to a greater understanding that the terms may actually be able to be dissolved in ways you haven't imagined before, or maybe expanded in ways you haven't imagined before. What does it really mean on your planet to be male? What does it really mean on your planet to be female? In fact, what does it really mean on your planet to be human at all? Because most of you aren't yet. You're becoming more human, but you're actually not human yet.
You just kind of dissed us all, didn't you, right now? In a playful way.
You need to understand how labels limit you.
Okay.
Be an explorer and understand that the space that you're exploring is far vaster than you think. Drop the boundaries for now and see what comes up. That will allow people to operate much more flexibly within themselves when it's all right in their minds for them to express gender in a variety of different ways, and even what it means to be a gender. There are civilizations where there is no gender at all. Let me describe one to you.
Okay.
We are aware of a life form on a planet that sort of builds itself. All the components look the same. You could loosely describe every single one of the components, the living components, as being kind of like a large, thin worm or snake-like organism. Now, it doesn't exactly look like a worm or a snake, but that's the general shape of it. In certain conditions, they actually come together and attach to each other in ways that builds a mobile creature. But they all, in a sense, are genderless. And yet, when they come together in certain ways, then they become a kind of gender temporarily to do what they need to do to reproduce, but it's still not reproduction in the way you understand it. And if they choose to break apart, they are again genderless. Do you follow? So they literally build the genders as they need them, but even the genders they build as they need them, like a set of building blocks, aren't even genders as you understand them.
So what's the purpose of taking on a gender in that culture?
To express a certain purpose for a certain experience, but again, those experiences may be completely foreign to the way you understand the expression of gender. All we simply mean is there may be a trait that now becomes more dominant in them, that is dominant for a particular reason temporarily, and it may have to do with the perpetuation of the species, maybe, in certain ways, but it's still nothing like gender as you understand it.
Thank you. I won't pretend to understand that all.
Oh,
but
all
I,
right.
Yeah, I
Nevertheless,
have a sense of
all we're simply attempting to say is the basic building block of your being is either genderless or contains all possible genders or expressions of that concept. And the people on your planet, now that they are awakening to different levels of their consciousness, may be made up of more than two colors. Your palette has expanded now. Yes? So really look at what the colors are that any given person, no matter what they look like, may actually be painted with. Because you may see some very subtle tones there that give richness and depth and dimension to those beings far beyond the idea of simple black and white. Yes?
It sounds more artful
It is.
of an experience of life.
And therefore more representative of the way life actually expresses itself within creation.
I'm thinking about the experience of sexual ecstasy
Yes.
between two people.
Yes.
And my understanding is that requires a polarity to be there.
Well, not a polarity in the way that you necessarily experience it on your planet. There generally does need to be a resonance difference to play off of one another, but it doesn't have to exactly be what you would think of as a polarity.
Oh, a resonance
Because a resonance
difference.
difference can be used to amplify and reinforce each other in certain ways to build up to a certain point of experience. But resonance amplification doesn't exactly have to be a polarity. We can get into that in more detail at another time.
Okay, thank you so very much.
You are so very welcome.